Good evening, everybody. Welcome to my first ever show, Big KR Big Game Show. I am Big Game Kerry Reeves. You've seen me before on Rebels with a Cause, our great program, and now this is a spinoff of that to say. This is my show. I'm excited about it. And away we are going with great topics tonight. Thank you. Thank everybody for joining us up, and we are going to have a lot of fun. We're going to talk a lot about football, about the events that are going on in the world. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl, the Olympics. We got college basketball. We got a lot of things going right now. So we're going to start by getting into our show, and the opinions of views of KR's Big Game Show are not of any organization entities. They're solely of the RWAC family and guest panelists' views. And please smash that like button. Please smash that like button and share us tonight. We've got over 191 subscribers. Life is going good. We got over 20,000 views. We're going to get other people to join us. We are going to have so much fun doing our show. We're going to start us off tonight. We have an early matchup for Super Bowl 60. Your early thoughts on this matchup between Seattle and New England. Watching the games this weekend, I saw probably one of the worst championship games humanly possible with the AFC championship game with New England and Denver. Being a Bills fan, it sucked watching that game, knowing that we should have been there to beat either one of those teams. But no matter what that said, congratulations to the Patriots. I hate saying those words, but they kind of earned a victory. I think Denver almost handed it to them in a way. When the weather changed, the game ended. The game basically ended when the weather changed in the middle of the third quarter with 6 minutes to go. The snow and everything else was just a huge part of the second half of that game, and that really just changed everything. Get the chat box going tonight as we go through the topics, and everybody just come on and just talk with me in the chat now. And if we can, I'll get you on here for about a few minutes, let you speak your mind, have a good time. My early thoughts and matchups are this is going to be an interesting game. I look at New England. And I see what Mike Vrabel has done in his first year. The defense has actually stepped up in these playoffs for them, and they've really been their number one unit. The offense, on the other hand, this is going to be a tough matchup for them with Seattle, because Seattle's defensive line is hungry, they're fast, and they're strong, and they're go-getters. And their weak side offense, the Patriots have had one deficiency all year, and that's been their offensive line. And their offensive line this may be the game that it comes back to bite them. So far, everybody has played them tight, but the Patriots' defensive line has been the story of their playoff run. And Drake May, he's done just enough to get them by, even though he has had a lot of turnover issues in this postseason. He's had 6 fumbles. He's lost 4 of them. So let's see what happens going forward, see if they can try to correct some of that before in the next week or two before the game. For Seattle, that was a fantastic game with the Rams. Matthew Stafford was balling, put up great numbers. He just didn't make enough plays. But the star of the game was Sam Darnold. For all the crap and for everything that he has taken over the last couple of years, saying that he hasn't shown up at big games, between the third and fourth quarter of the second Rams game to this moment last Sunday, he has been absolutely phenomenal. And he's got an injured oblique, which I'm still trying to figure out how he's in the game playing as well as he can. He is just clicking on all cylinders, showing why he was the number 3, finally showing people why he was the number 3 overall pick in the 2018 NFL draft. Their Seattle's defense forced some stops, got some timely stops. Jackson Smith-Njigba on the outside is just a dangerous man, and the performance of Cooper Kupp in this game. Cooper Kupp and the underneath stuff really made a difference. Really made a difference in that game Sunday, because his attention to being underneath took away people from double covering Jackson Smith-Njigba, and Jackson just went crazy. So this matchup, there's going to be a lot of similarities. I'm looking at the key to this game to be in New England's offensive line versus Seattle's defensive line. with Lawrence and Williams on that defensive line. The New England Patriots, one spot that I have said all year, the offensive line, that's been their biggest issue. It hurt them in the regular season. It's really starting to hit now, and Seattle is going to come after them with everything they have. Mike McDonald, what a job he has done in 2 years. In 2 years, he has taken them from 4 wins and Pete Carroll's last year and rebuilt that whole defense. And now in 2 years' time, he is going to be coaching on the biggest stage in San Francisco. And in this case, I look at them as having a little bit of a home field advantage. They have a home field advantage because they've played in San Francisco recently. As a matter of fact, they played there a month. It'll be a month since they played their Week 18 game there with San Francisco. So they have a little bit of an advantage. They won't have to travel as far. Their fans will be able to show up and show out. New England's going to have to do a 3,000-mile trip. And the good thing in a way that this game is 2 weeks for them, that way they can get used to everything and be out there for a full week. By the time game time comes around next Sunday, I think New England will be set up and ready to go. Early predictions, he got his line at 4.5 for Seattle. Seattle's a 4.5 favorite. I expect that to jump up to somewhere around 5, maybe 6. If there's injuries beforehand, it might go up to 7. It might go down to 3. I think it's going to be, so far, the game here is going to be pretty intuitive, a lot of fun. And I got Rocky on there. Thank you for showing up, my friend. Good to hear you. Good to see you out there. And our matchups, this is going to be a fun matchup. And then on the other side of the ball, you got Seattle's offense, which Sam Darnold is just absolutely rolling right now. The running game, we don't have Charbonnet for Seattle, but Kenneth Walker played very well in the NFC Championship game, had a few big runs, gave them that balance that Sam Darnold needed, and the offensive play calling of Clint Kubiak, who had just announced this week that he is not leaving Seattle. So he will be there another year with Sam Darnold and got a chance to win Super Bowl 60 as an assistant coach. And speaking of coaching, we are now moving on. We have updated NFL coaching hires today. My boys went ahead and hired Joe Brady, promoted him from offensive coordinator to the head coaching job in the NFL. As of right now, we've got 7 of the 10 slots filled. We got Mike McCarthy, who was introduced today in Pittsburgh. Jeff Hadley, who was introduced a couple days ago in Miami as their new head coach. John Harbaugh is introduced as the new head coach in New York with the Giants. Kevin Stefanski was also introduced today as Atlanta's new head coach. Jesse Mentor in Baltimore will be introduced tomorrow, along with Robert Saleh will be introduced tomorrow to the media in Nashville as their head coach. These are great hires. These are really good hires, solid hires. Pittsburgh, I think, went against what they normally would do. What they normally did was hire somebody in their 30s, defensive side. They decided to go for an intermediate. Mike McCarthy, 62, which is completely different from what they've done, but they need to fix the offensive side of the ball. I like the idea that McCarthy comes in, and I think that may convince Aaron Rodgers to play one more year and get them set up. They could draft a quarterback and start trying to have a contingency plan for what happens after next year. Because McCarthy's is a sharp offensive mind, and he has helped along Aaron Rodgers before. He won a Super Bowl with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. He improved Dak Prescott in Dallas and helped make him the quarterback that he is. And now, and he's been out of the game for a year now, get himself refreshed, did the Mike Vrabel thing, got refreshed, did a fantastic and outstanding job being away from the game, enjoying things and seeing what's going on. Jeff Hadley is an interesting selection for Miami because he was a head coach up until the last couple of years. He was a head coach at Boston College. He left that job to become defensive coordinator of the Packers. And this year he had a really good year with getting the addition of Micah Parsons until Micah got hurt in the 13th game of the year. And that really changed Green Bay's fortune from that point. It made them what was a strong contender pretty much down to the last wild card, and they blew the game with Chicago. But what a performance Hadley had in 2 years as defensive coordinator. He's going to shape. The big question in Miami is going to be, what are they going to do with Tua? Is he going to be somewhere else next year, and they're going to eat the salary cap room, a la Denver with Russell Wilson, which now Russell Wilson in Denver's completely off the book, so Denver will actually have money. Will Miami go through the same thing, or will they work with Tua, try to reduce that contract and reduce the salary cap hit, and trade some other parts of the team to try to get down to where they could rebuild and restructure that organization? The Giants hiring John Harbaugh might have been one of the best moves of the entire offseason. Baltimore and him, that was a great relationship they had for 19 years, but it had run its course. Both sides figured out that both sides run its course, and John Harbaugh, once he was out there, the job that he wanted was in New York, and he got hired by the people who he wanted. What's interesting about that is he's going to be reporting to the Hara family and not Joe Shine, which is very interesting because Joe Shine has been on the chopping block nearly for the last couple of years. And the fact that he gets to survive this, he's got a chance to redo this roster. They get some people back. They got a young, improving quarterback in Jackson Dart. They got a guy, Cam Scatterboo, coming back from injury. They got Malik Neighbors coming back from injury. They've got some parts already in stone. They got pass rushers. They have an offensive line on the left side that's pretty stable. If they can get a number 2 receiver, get the offensive line and the rest of the defensive line shipped up in the secondary, the Giants are going to be one of those teams next year that may improve their win total. Every year, there's 14 teams that make the playoffs, and usually there's about an average 6 to 7 of them that are new. Giants could be one of those new teams if they get the right pieces and put themselves together. Atlanta, getting Kevin Stefanski is an interesting move. They needed an offensive guy on the offensive side of the ball. 2-time coach of the year in Cleveland. If you can do that in Cleveland, you should be able to coach anywhere. Their biggest issue is going to be who's going to be the quarterback. You have 38-year-old Kirk Cousins, who is about to receive in March, if nothing else happens, gets the rest of his money from this big contract. Gets the rest of that big contract. And we'll see what happens. With Michael Penix has been an injury problem since his college days, and they're starting to catch up to him now on the NFL level. And yeah, what's up, Larry? Thank you for joining us today. Yep, I saw McCarthy with that phony cry. That was an interesting little thing. Being back home in Pittsburgh, I thought that was very interesting. Him shedding some tears. I couldn't fake tears. I couldn't stop laughing when it came to that. But I think Stefanski in Atlanta, he's already got Jeff Ulrich, who's going to be your defensive coordinator. So that's going to stay intact because they got those young pass rushers and a good-sized secondary. Defense-wise, I think they're okay. Atlanta's got to rebuild the offense. They got to get a quarterback because you got Bijan Robinson, who led the league in all-purpose yards. Excuse me. You got Drake London, tremendous receiver. They need a number 2, and you got Kyle Pitts, who I don't think is being used enough in Atlanta. And they need to get a quarterback that's going to use everybody, get the field going, and they can score points. That division now, the NFC South, just got a whole lot interesting. With it improving, with Carolina winning the division, you got New Orleans, who I think is going to improve next year. I think Tampa should be able to improve next year if they can get out of their own way and stop being injured. And then Atlanta, of course, with a new coach. It's going to be interesting to see how that division grows next year in the NFC South. The interesting hire to me is in Baltimore. You had John Harbaugh for 19 years. You said you wanted to get away from that type of coaching and that type of environment, but you bring in a guy who not only worked for Jim Harbaugh, he also got his start working for John Harbaugh in Baltimore, Jesse Mentor. He is considered one of the top young defensive minds in football. That's been with John in Baltimore. He went to Jim in Michigan and in L.A., helped win a national championship there. Now he's going to be taking over, and his offensive coordinator hire is going to be the key because you got a superstar quarterback with Lamar Jackson. If you get Lamar some help, get him some defensive help, improve the defense to where it was back in the day, I think Baltimore is going to have a shot to do some damage. And oh yeah, there's my family. Rebels with a cause. Thank you guys. Thank you. Getting back to Jesse Mentor. He's got the defensive mentality. He's got the smarts. He's got all the ability. The question now with him is going to be, who can he get them? Can he help start getting them over the hump? Can he help? Can he help do the thing to help Lamar get better, make the defense better, get everything set, ready to go? And that'll be an interesting story to watch and see who his OC is, because that's going to be very important. The hire that I think that's going to be able to do the most business is in Tennessee. I've always liked Robert Saleh as a person. Him getting a second shot at being a head coach, especially to place of Tennessee, they've got a lot of salary cap space to fill. Today he just got named Brian Daboll as his offensive coordinator for Cam Ward. Brian Daboll comes with a great reputation. He was with Brady and Belichick in New England. He helped shape Josh Allen into the player that he is. And now he gets a chance to take all those secrets and teach them into Cam Ward, who the last 6 games of last year, Cam Ward improved 10 touchdowns, 1 interceptions, get him some more skilled players, get the lines built up. He's already got things set in place. You got a star quarterback, you got good offensive linemen on the left, you got a good left tackle, you got a good pass rusher and Jeffrey Simmons. Now you start building around that. He's in a great area in Nashville. They're moving into a new stadium in 2027. So they've got to get themselves together next year and get ready to christen the new Nissan Stadium. And Robert Saleh's got a chance to really build this team. I think they will improve their win total big time next year. 4th place schedule. It's not common in that division for a 4th place team to go from 4th to 1st. Jacksonville did it this past year. Jacksonville went from 4th to division champion. Houston went from 4th 3 years ago to division champion. It's in that division. It happens quite a bit. That's going to be a great challenge for that division. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be great to see what is it going to be. Let's see. Pittsburgh and Miami look like a shit. That's highly possible, man. I don't know what's going to end up coming with that. Larry, what's my thoughts on Joe Brady? I was just about to get to that. My thoughts on Joe Brady is I do approve of Joe Brady. It keeps the continuity with Josh Allen. It keeps the offense. It keeps the team, because the team knows who he is. He'll be able to deal directly with the team. The team knows him. The team likes him. It keeps the continuity that Sean McDermott started, but he's going to take it to another couple steps, because I don't think we saw the best that Joe Brady can do. The offense, I don't think it'll fall off. I actually think the offense will get better, because I think he'll be able to address it the way he wants to address it and get another receiver in there. The defensive coordinator hire is going to be big. And from what I'm hearing, there's the possibility of Jim Leonard, who's a former Bills player, who was the assistant defensive coordinator with the Denver Broncos and secondary coach, could be your new defensive coordinator in Buffalo. That would be a great hire and a great tandem for the both of them. And the offensive coordinator, I am hearing that if Davis Webb doesn't get the Raider job, he's a strong possibility to either end up in Buffalo or land right back in Denver, because Denver today fired their offensive coordinator, Joe Lombardi, who has been with Sean Payton ever since their New Orleans days. So there's a couple windows open for that area. I like the hire. I like Brady with them. I like Brady. Brady, I think, is a really good hire. His track record, he's been a coach since 2013. William & Mary is where he got his start. Of course, everybody knows him with LSU back in 2019 when he was the passing game coordinator. And he had Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. And what a team. And Clyde Edwards-Helaire, what a team that was that won the national championship. The year before that, people forget, he was an offensive analyst with the Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints, and he helped them get to the NFC championship game. So Joe Brady is no stranger to big stages in a supporting role. Now he gets to be the CEO, the head coach, and I think this is where you want to go. A familiar face going into a new year. They got to do some figuring out with the defense, get some free agents, see who's going to stay, who's going to go. You move into a brand new stadium, and that's going to be even more revenue for them to use. Joe Brady could not have actually came in at a better time, because Buffalo looks like they're still going to be content. Buffalo's still going to be contenders for the AFC as long as Josh Allen is your quarterback. And his offense, the last 2.5 years in Buffalo, he's produced an MVP in Josh Allen and this year's rushing champion in James Cook. So what they need, reshape the wide receiver position, get another corner, reshape the linebackers. Defensive coordinator is going to be the key. If it's Jim Leonard, that's going to be a huge home run because he plays an aggressive style defense. You saw what he helped with Vance Joseph in Denver's defense. They led the league in sacks, and they were a top 5 defense. They need to get back to doing that, rushing the passer, because that is one thing that has been sadly missed with Buffalo the last 3.5, 4 years is the pass rush. And I have to say this, I want to go on record in saying thank you to Sean McDermott. He got us out of the drought. When he got there in 2017, we hadn't made the playoffs in 17 years. We had the longest drought in professional sports. He not only broke it, he had Tyrod Taylor as his quarterback and did an outstanding job with that team. They drafted Josh Allen. The only losing season McDermott had was the next year. When they went 6-10, they had injuries, and even Josh Allen, the only injuries he's had in his career, really, that knocked him out of game time was that injury. But ever since then, they've been a wild card or they've been a division champion. Do I think New England is back, or is this a one-year bit? That will be a wait-and-see question. Next year, they don't play a fourth-place schedule next year. Next year, as a division champion, they get that first-place schedule. We're going to see if their teams like Brady and them, when they had the first-place schedules, did the job. We're going to see if they could be like Allen and Mahomes, who has played with basically first-place schedules for the last 8 years and have 1-2. They're 1-2 in the league in wins in the last 8 years. And they both played first-place schedules, and they played each other. So I want to see what New England's schedule looks like, because next year, the AFC East, we get to play the NFC West. They will play the NFC West champion, which is Seattle. So there will be a Super Bowl rematch next year that New England will have to deal with. They will play both. They play their Super Bowl rematch. They play Buffalo twice. They will play the NFC North, including the AFC East. They'll have to go to Chicago. They will go to Green Bay. Their schedule became a whole lot tougher going from fourth place to first place. And let's see. McCarthy doing his Cody Rhodes. Oh, that's funny, man. That's just deep. That is so deep. The comment, keep filling that chat box. This is absolutely outstanding. Now let's get to the rest of the story, as Paul Harvey once said. Cleveland, Arizona, and Las Vegas are yet to hire a coach. Of the jobs that are left, who is the worst of the 3 remaining openings? From what I have seen so far, nobody has mentioned Arizona. Who's going to go to Arizona? I don't even know who's interviewed for Arizona. Las Vegas has been active in the coaching. They've interviewed everybody. They actually, of the guys that got hired, they interviewed 5 of them. So they have been active. Cleveland's a dumpster fire. People are turning down interviews to go to Cleveland. They may end up sticking with either Jim Schwartz or the guy from the Rams who's the passing game coordinator. Shall I see something like that? That Cleveland is just a tire fire, to the point that you got a guy on a defensive end, Myles Garrett, that set the sack record, and they can't get a coach to come even interview, let alone take the job, because it looks like it's probably going to end up being Jim Schwartz, who may get that job who was the defensive coordinator, may end up getting that job. So Cleveland has just been terrible, terrible, terrible. And I look at Arizona. I've heard a few names for Arizona. Some of the same names that have been mentioned for Arizona as some of the names have been filled in the coaching. And so I'm dying to see who they may be. Them in Cleveland right now competing to see who the last ones. I expect Vegas to have their coach sometime later this week. Is probably if it's not Davis Webb, it might be Daboll. It might be somebody completely that we don't know. But Tom Brady has been really secretive about who's not just who's gotten interviews, but how far have the interviews gotten to the second interviews. A lot of teams have gotten to the second interviews and made their decision there. I'm dying to see how that ends up in Las Vegas, because that's an interesting job. You've got the number 1 pick. You've got the number 1 pick in Las Vegas, and whoever your coach and GM is going to be, you got to decide whether you take Mendoza or if you think that you can wait another year and get a quarterback in next year's class, which is supposed to be a lot better than this year's class, and stick with Geno Smith for one more year, and knowing that you're probably going to end up with the same position again, or you trade the number one pick, get a gang of picks, and set yourselves up for the future and build yourself a team. Because really, what you got, because you've got some pieces in place. You got Max Crosby on the defensive end, premium pass rusher. Got Ashton Jeanty on a rookie contract. You got Bach Bowers and Michael Meyer, your tight ends, on rookie contracts. So you need help on the off. You need some more skilled players, and you need a quarterback. The position for the Raiders is going to be, you draft Mendoza this year, or do you wait to next year where the quarterback class is a little bit more robust, a little bit more polished? And we'll see what happens there. And let's see, the division has a bunch of yeah, the AFC North, that is the most Larry, I'm glad you brought that up. That's the most interesting decision that I have seen, because you basically have Cleveland doesn't have a coach. That's going to be scary enough. Cincinnati decided to keep their coach. I don't know why Zach Taylor still has a job. Jesse Minter's new in Baltimore, and Mike McCarthy is new in Pittsburgh. That division next year, you may have an NFC South area. You may have 8-9 or 9-8 could win that division next year. So what humanly anything is possible with that division. But the coaching carousel has been an interesting one. It's been a really good one. It's kept fans on the edge of the seat, and it's really great distraction for just about the Super Bowl in the next couple of weeks. There's no story that I forgot to put in. The Pro Bowl is next Tuesday, and Shedeur Sanders was selected to replace Drake May at the Pro Bowl. And the reason why people going, Shedeur Sanders is a Pro Bowler, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. He's a Pro Bowler. Folks, take a pill. The reason why he's a Pro Bowler, Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Daniel Jones. What do they all have in common? They all had season-ending injuries that knocked them out of the Pro Bowl. So when they went down the line of who the voting, Shedeur Sanders was the next healthiest quarterback. So he will join Justin Herbert and Josh Allen at the Pro Bowl out there in Las Vegas next Tuesday for when they compete against, and the coaches, Jerry Rice and Steve Young are the coaches this year in the Pro Bowl, not the Mannings, which is interesting enough. So that makes for a fun event, and they'll have all their events and everything. It leads up to the NFL Honors, which is next Thursday. And then a shocking announcement tonight. Bill Belichick did not make this year's Hall of Fame ballot on the first year on the ballot. He did not make the Hall of Fame. A lot of people are screaming outrage, saying that's not fair. He should have made it. No, they detailed completely why he shouldn't make the Hall of Fame. It's called Spygate and Deflategate. He cheated. At some point down the line, he cheated. He acknowledged that he took a few more advantages than most people. He was caught several times, but the NFL didn't really do enough on him, and now he is paying for it. And Shedeur, oh man, that's a good one. That is a good one. Oh man, Shedeur. Yep. Hey, no matter how you get there, you get there, and that's what been the story this week today with Belichick not making the Hall of Fame. Those announcements, by the way, the Hall of Fame will be made at the NFL Honors, which is next Thursday. John Hamm is the host of that, and that's usually a pretty big event where they announce the MVP, the offensive player, and defensive players of the year. Although I think the defensive player of the year is the one award. We already know who's won that award, and that'll be Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns. And they'll introduce the big award, which is the Man of the Year category, which is a huge award. That's a major award next to the MVP. If Pete Rose never got to the Cooperstown, Belichick doesn't. That's a good point. That is a very good point. And speaking of Cooperstown this week, I knew there was something I forgot to mention. Congratulations to Carlos Beltran and Andrew Jones, two guys that deserve to have been in the Hall of Fame that finally got there, especially Andrew Jones, one of the highest rated fielding percentages in Major League Baseball history, and a former world champion himself with the Atlanta Braves. And Carlos Beltran, they say that he was part of the cheating scandal with the Houston Astros, but it was never really proven that he was involved. But he was a world champion as well with Houston and played for years with the Mets and had a fantastic career. So congratulations to both of them for making the Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. And I agree with you, Larry. If Pete Rose never got to Cooperstown, Belichick doesn't need to be in Canton. You're exactly right. You are so right. So far, keep that chat box going. Everybody's commenting in tonight. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to move on to college basketball. There's been a lot of great results. We got conference play is going all over, the strong conference play. We got Arizona, Michigan, and UConn holding their own as the top 3 teams in the country. We got an undefeated Nebraska team that's going to Michigan tonight to play them. That should be a very highly volatile game. The SEC has had its own controversy this week with what's going on in Tuscaloosa with Badeko. If people don't know the story, you have a guy named Badeko who had all of his eligibility used up, was in the G League, was in Europe, got petitioned to come back to Alabama, and an Alabama judge, who happens to be one of the boosters for the Alabama basketball program, ruled that he is eligible to play, and he got to play this Saturday night against Tennessee. And yes, he scored 13 points, but Tennessee won the game, as Tennessee always does in basketball season. They beat Alabama. We beat Alabama in everything on a consistent basis except for football. If we can get football right for once, we'll own them in every sport. But that was just horrible. The fact that a judge got involved in letting a guy come in, if there was anybody else. And today they filed an injunction to keep him from playing tonight. And last night, and yes, that's right, I got to see Louisville. Duke is up there too as one of the top seeds. Louisville has had a good year, but they've had a tough bit facing the good teams that Louisville has faced. They have been getting dog walked by. They've been getting dog walked by. They got dog walked by Duke last night. They got dog walked by Tennessee last month here. And it's their schedule. They've beaten who they're supposed to beat, but when it comes up to the big boys, they can't handle the big boys. And yes, Louisville's strategy, of course, was to throw up threes and hope they win. And that was their same strategy when they came here to Knoxville. Throw up threes, hope they go in. If they don't, it's a long night. But college basketball is going strong. And in a couple of weeks, Valentine's Day weekend, as a matter of fact, February the 15th, keep that date on your calendars. It'll be the preview. It'll come out with the NCAA's top 16 teams, the top 4 seeds in each region projected, as they have gone and voted for them. This is a good chance in the next couple of weeks for some of these teams that are on that bubble line trying to get up to be in them top 4 seeds, because it's very important to be in the top 16 seeds, because your national champion, the last 6 national champions have come from that first top 16 preview. So get in that category, get a chance to get in there for any of the teams. You got Tennessee. The weather has played a factor. You got Tennessee having the women's game at Ole Miss postponed last night. They have not announced a date for that yet. The men are playing tomorrow night in Athens instead of tonight for extra precaution to play Georgia, and then they play Auburn Saturday night on the SEC network at 8:30. It's going to be ESPN at 8:30. It's going to be a great night. Stephen Pearl returned. This is the first game that Bruce Pearl will not be at as a member of either Tennessee or Auburn, which is going to be weird. There will be a Pearl on the sidelines, but it's going to be Stephen Pearl. Should be a fun basketball game. And they got a big victory over the weekend down in Florida, beating the Gators. The SEC is tight again. Not as tight. It's still competitive. It's not going to have the same number. We're not going to have 13 teams make the NCAA tournament like last year, but they may have 10 to 11, which is not that much of a drop off. You also got Arizona. You got Houston in the Big 12. That's going to be a battle with Arizona, Houston, and Texas Tech, who's now throwing themselves into the party. What a great win. What a fantastic win for them the other night. The other night against Houston. You got the Big 10. You got Michigan, where Nebraska's trying to throw their 2 cents in, which is fun. Michigan State is going to be around. The Big East, you got UConn. UConn has really taken a stranglehold on the Big East with St. John's and Creighton coming up behind them, fighting them off. And in the women's game, we've had a lot of upsets in the women's game going. Tennessee right now is the only undefeated team in the SEC. Women's leading at 6-0. They got a big game coming. They had the game with Ole Miss, but they got a big game coming up this weekend with Arkansas, which should be very interesting, which should be a lot of fun. And the big games this week, Kentucky men play at Arkansas. It's going for 6. They're going for 7 in a row. They'll be going for 7 in a row going to Arkansas on Saturday night to visit their old friend John Calipari. We all know how they feel about John Calipari, so it'll be a great battle. Great Saturday night. This is the ESPN game day site. Will be at Fayetteville for that game. And it gets going. We got coming up soon. As a matter of fact, we've got the Winter Olympics. February the 7th is when the opening ceremonies will commence in Italy. The opening games of the Winter Olympics. Hit the chat box up. Hit me up in the chat box. What are your favorite Olympic sports? My favorite Olympic sports that I'm looking forward to seeing with the hockey. The hockey's going to be the highly contested. I like the figure skating. I want to see the skiing. I want to see the women skiing, especially you got Lindsey Vonn, Micaiah Shefflin. We got a lot of people, a lot of great names that are coming back to run in this Olympics. You've got the men side, which is going to be very competitive. You got the figure skating, this might be the USA's best shot ever to get gold in both men and women. You've got curling, which I personally love curling, being a Western New York guy. I got to watch curling every weekend growing up. Curling is like, for those of you who don't know what curling is shuffleboard on ice, basically. That's what it is. You have little sweep brooms and you got big sticks. It's like shuffleboard on ice. Curling is so much fun. I enjoy it. The figure skating and the skiing is going to be great. Curling, the Olympics are going to be fun. Hit me up in the chat box. How many medals do you think? How do you think Team USA will do medal-wise in Italy? Are we going to be Are we going to be first in medals, second, third? Are we going to be top 5? Are we going to be top 10? I think we got a shot to be top 5, but I will take top 10 because Winter Olympics is usually one that we don't do. We've gotten better at because they've added a few events over in the past. They've added the ski boarding, the free range ski boogie boarding and that bit. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And the celebrities that are going to be over there. Snoop Dogg is part of the Olympic team as a captain. You've got some other celebrities that are going to be there as part of Team USA that are helping out in different fields. It's going to be a lot of fun. Toscano, Italy is an interesting place because they're trying to find snow for the ski right now because they have to make a lot of snow because apparently it hasn't snowed over there enough. So they're going to be making a lot of snow. The hockey is going to be fantastic because last year we had the 4 nations in the NHL, and that was absolutely fantastic hockey. And basically most of the same lineups that comprise of the 4 nations are going to be over in Italy for the hockey tournament. And you got Team USA and Team Canada. Both teams are so deep that they've got players. They have a list of 5 to 10 players that made last year's 4 nations that did not make this year's Olympic team. So those Olympic teams are going to be stacked. You got the Russian, you got the Yugoslavs, you've got Slovenia, You've got Hungary. You've got all the good teams that are really over there. The hockey is going to be so much fun. It's going to be so competitive. And that leads me, and we're going to have, and it's going to be a great time at the Olympics. Opening ceremonies will be there soon. And it's going to be very competitive, very challenging, very, very exciting. And catch up on some of these comments. And yeah, Badeko should not be allowed to play. No, he shouldn't. He should not be playing at all. I still can't believe. But then again, that's what happens when you go to Alabama. You get an Alabama federal judge who happens to be a booster. That's a conflict of interest. That was a conflict of interest right there. He should have never been deciding the case. But it's Alabama. They find a way around everything. Larry, my man, skiing's going to be a lot of fun. The figure skating is going to be really great. Curling is always a challenge. Curling is, and most people, when is curling on? Most times, if you wake up in the morning, curling is usually on then because they like to show that live early in the morning. So if you stay up or if you wake up early enough, you get to watch. And then, of course, the hockey is going to be fantastic. And our last comment is, how many medals do you think for America? I'm looking at total medals. If we get somewhere around 30 to 35, I think that's a good solid Olympics because there's a lot of events we'll be able to win. Oh, I forgot the bobsled. I love the bobsled competition. Is Russia still banned? I think Russia's been broken up for some time now. I think Russia is now different countries now, like Slovenia, Lithuania. So Russia is banned now, not banned, but they split up in quite a bit, a lot of categories. Oh man, this is great. I thank you guys. Keep chatting it up. And speaking of hockey, we're going into the fact that the NHL, by the time the February 5th break comes, and they're going to be breaking for 3 weeks because of the Olympics, 3/4 of the NHL schedule will be played. They play an 84-game schedule. About 67 to 68 games will be played. So they'll have roughly around 17. Some teams will have 17 to 20 games left to play when they come back from the break. Who's your favorite team out there in the NHL? Mine, of course, is the Buffalo Sabres. I've got love, of course, being a Western New York guy that has lived down here in Tennessee for over 30 years. I love Tennessee. But I'm still loyal to my Western New York teams. Buffalo's having a really good year right now, a really solid year. They're contending for a wild card spot. They're going to try to get up to the division spot. My man James, my main stallion out there, he loves the Florida Panthers, the 2-time defending champions, and they're struggling a little bit right now, but I expect them to catch a ride in the second half, and I expect them to be in the playoffs to defend their title. You got the East, which is very competitive. The West has been competitive too, with Las Vegas and Edmonton and some of the ones that have come out west, but the hockey has been really good so far. It's been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of fight. Watch those Panthers. Panthers are getting healthy. When they get healthy, they'll be back. I expect them to be fully back and upset, get in the playoffs and ready to defend their championship, which is going to be, and I can see that too as a dangerous low seed. Yeah, if you're a top seed, that's the last team I would want to see play in the playoffs. If they're anywhere between 6, 7, and 8, I don't want to see them if I'm a top 3 favorite. If I'm a top 3 seed, I don't want to see the Florida Panthers across because they're dangerous. They know how to win. The nucleus is still there. They keep going. And they have not just a tremendous home field advantage, but they play very well on the road too. Their game travels both home and away. They're very dangerous. So watch out for them as we get going the second half of the season. Right now, even with the Super Bowl coming up and after football season goes away, which will all be sad, we got college basketball. We got hockey. Yeah, if you like the NBA, you still got part of that with the All-Star game coming up in between with the Olympics and everything else. And you got the NHL All-Star game, which I think will happen before the break, or I think it happens before the break. Somebody give me a date on that, excuse me, if humanly possible, and someone just give me a date on that with the All-Star hockey NHL All-Star game. I'll be pretty impressed with that bit. It'll be something to watch. We got a lot of stuff coming up with a lot of exciting stuff for the future. Let's see. And now I'm going to get to this part of my show. I've got this is my new segment called Big Game Performance of the Week. It could be any sport. It could be any athlete, any sport. You've got so many to choose from. I know football season's winding down, but I love when this time of year, it's the guys' big games. It's a few events on TV. Your big games really shine out. To me, my big game performer this week is Sam Darnold. For all the crap that this man has taken For all the people saying that he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, give you some stats for you. The last 2 years, which quarterback has more wins than anybody else? Sam Darnold. Who did Minnesota? Minnesota chose J.J. McCarthy over paying this guy. I'd have, I'd have paid Sam Darnold the same deal that Seattle paid him to keep there. Carolina didn't go well. The Jets, where he was first drafted, of course, we all remember the famous line, he saw ghosts. But let's remember, too, Adam Gase, old coach there, was high in the press conference, so we'll never forget about that little session. But Sam Darnold, man, tremendous performance with an oblique injury. He was just absolutely phenomenal in the way he played, the way he threw the football, the way he commanded the offense. He was absolutely incredible. Very proud of Sam Darnold for that game. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Sam Darnold went 25 for 36 for 346 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and a rating of 127.8. He was absolutely phenomenal. The defense out there was phenomenal. His performance set the tone. He set the tone for everybody out there on the field. He was in command. He was everything that we thought we were going to see when he left USC. Some people, it just takes a little while to get in the right situation. Like I said, and a rule that I have for the New York Jets, when you play for the Jets, you're crap. When you leave the Jets, you end up happy and you end up successful. That's the New York Jets. They've been given back to the NFL with good players that have gone on to do better since 1969. We all know the Jets are awful. This is why they're awful. They don't know how to coach good players. But Sam was just amazing, and now he's the first member of the class of 2018 to be in the quarterback class of 2018 to be in the Super Bowl, a class that had Baker Mayfield drafted first. He was drafted third. Josh Allen was seventh. Lamar Jackson was 32nd. Josh Rosen, the forgotten one who wasn't in the league in 3 years after that, was drafted ninth. So yeah, during all that, it was the great Sam Darnold. Sam has earned it. He has been through crap. He's been through everything. And the fact that he did it in a game against the team that has really stymied him since his comeback has began. The Rams, he threw 6 interceptions in the first 6 quarters against the Rams this year. The last 6 quarters, he threw no interceptions and threw for almost 700 yards and 6 touchdowns. The guy showed up. He balled. It was a fantastic performance by the great Sam Darnold. Very happy for him. I'm happy for him. I'm happy for the class of 2018. We finally got somebody in the Super Bowl. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. And next week we'll talk more about the Super Bowl. We'll get more in depth next week. I'll have a score prediction for you. I'll tell you who's going to be the keys in this game. We're going to get through this week with the bye and see who gets healthy, who has injuries, who has this and that, and how big the point spread is going to be. Because usually point spread by next week should either be the same, go up or go down. It'll be interesting to see what the point spread was. This was terrific. You guys have kept the comments going. I appreciate everybody that has commented tonight. This has just been absolutely outstanding. And I know this is my first show, and I appreciate everybody that has come on my show that has watched my show tonight. I want to thank everybody for making my first show memorable. Please hit the like and subscribe button and support our RWAC family and sharing our cause. We enjoy doing this for you. We enjoy having fun talking about this. Is therapy. We call it a therapy session. So now I get 2 therapy sessions. I get tonight as a therapy session. I will see you tomorrow night on Rebels Without Cause, and that's our real therapy session. We'll have the coach. We got Stallion. We got Rocky. We got all kinds of people. We got more people coming on. We got more shows are going to hit our channel here soon. I'm really excited that I got the one of the opportunities to do this tonight. I am thrilled. I'm going to be back next week. I'm going to get more people involved next week. And I'm going to give you guys a chance to comment, have some fun, talk with me about what's on your mind, what's going on with sports and everything else. And on a personal note too, before before we go any further, this has been a really challenging last year and a half for me with medical issues. I am now a type 2 diabetic. And the reason why I'm a type 2 diabetic is because for years, I never really watched myself and everything. And I ate and I ate and I ate and drank and drank and drank and everything. Got to a point that I ended up being in the hospital last September. And I was there in the hospital for 2.5 months. I lost over 140 pounds. My life has changed in so many ways for the better, health wise, and I want to be in the future. I'm going to be sharing some stuff on how I made it through, and for anybody that has been through a change like that with health issues, diabetes issues, because people have questions every day. Heck, I still have questions every day when it comes to what to do, what can I have, how does this help me? And I had good people. I've had great doctors. I've had great people that have helped me along the way, and I really appreciate. And I'm going to be sharing some of that in the next coming few weeks with everybody, talking about how my life has changed. My life can change, and your life can change too. Just follow simple instructions and just live your life. And tonight, that is all I have tonight. Thank you guys for joining. Thanks for everybody in the comment box. It's been a fantastic first show. I really appreciate everybody tuning in and listening to me ramble on a little bit, but I enjoy what I do. I love sports. Sports is to me is still the best reality show ever on television, because you never know what's going to happen, and it makes everything fun. It makes everything challenging. It gives us a lot to talk about. And I really enjoy it. So thank you to everybody tonight. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Support our cause. We've gotten over 190 views, 191 subscribers, and over 20,000 views for our channel, Rebels Without a Cause. Thank you guys so much. And remember, life is a life is like a big game. It's fun, it's challenging, and it brings out character, and it rises, and you rise or you fall. It's up to y'all. Thank you, and I will see you all next week on KR's Big Game Show.